G'day, how we going? I don't know whether anyone can see me. This is Monday Night Live 97. How is everyone? I don't know whether anyone can see me or is even here. We're having some very, very kooky problems with the moment with the live. Can anyone see me here? Oh, yeah, there's a few people here. Righto. How are we going? I've had 10 minutes. It was working perfectly. And then the something very, very weird happened with the internet here. So that's why you're seeing me on the mobile phone. The worst possible connection. Anyway, we're on the phone. We're going to make it work. I had a big setup here at home. So we're not in the studio tonight because it's the first night back with Mrs. is upstairs with the young baby. So, yeah, that was what was happening. So, righto, so tonight we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about, very importantly, we're going to get this basically straight away, Carrara nugget hunt. We've got a lot of questions at the moment about the Carrara nugget hunt. So it's going to be postponed. We're looking at this stage at the weekend of the 19th of September, which happens to be the weekend before the nugget hunt. So Carrara nugget hunt, it's done and dusted until the 19th of September, which is the weekend before the World Metal Detecting Championships. So I think that will work well for people. We just can't afford to do it. And, well, I don't want to leave it until the week before and cancel it when people are already travelling. And the other thing is we didn't want to run it, A, get a fine, B, get someone sick. So that's what we've done. So we've made that decision just today to cancel the nugget hunt. Postpone the nugget hunt until the 19th of September. That way, people, if they're coming up from Victoria, they can hit both events with a week in between. So that's sort of what we're going to do. Yes, so the Carrara nugget hunt is off, but be on later in the year. Questions from the... let's try this with the lighting now. Oh, there we go. It's so much more romantic like that. So that's a little bit better. So, so there's a stack of questions I didn't get to the last 2 weeks, and I've got to take my hat off to Mark from the Metal Detecting Country New South Wales for taking on the last 2 weeks. He did a cracking job and gave away a machine, a panning kit. So well done to Mark. He did a good job. There was a stack of questions from the Gold Show that we didn't get to, and Taylor's pulled out a couple here for me to answer tonight. So we might just slip straight into that. But if you've got questions, now's the time to answer them, and I'll pick them up on the stream. So feel free to ask any questions about metal detecting, what's happening with the lease, what we're doing with the coronavirus. I'm still calling it the coronavirus. I don't like that COVID-19 business. It sounds too official. So slip in and ask us any of that sort of stuff. We've put in a bit of a strategy with the coronavirus, what we're going to do at work. All the lives will continue. Hopefully the shipping will all continue, so online orders will all continue. Everything will just run as normal sort of thing until the government tells us that we can't do something. So anyway, let's get to these questions. So ask us any question you like. Try and stump me with a question. So so they're talking about there's one question here specifically about Warwick, but you could probably you could probably answer this on a lot of gold fields. And in Warwick, this is the question. I'm not sure who this question's from. I'm not sure who any of these questions are from. But is the gold found more in the white clay? So in most gold fields, it is more than one layer. So in Warwick, yes, the white clay does hold the gold. There's also a layer of orange clay that holds a layer of gold. So it's multiple layers that hold the gold. Most of the gold, I think, are on the junctions of the country, not necessarily just in one colour. It tends to be more about where the join in the country is. So, for instance, if you've got some orange country meeting some grey country, that's probably a better spot to look because there's a join there somewhere. So, yeah. Dean makes a point. It makes a point here. I read a post where he offered to help someone, and Dean, there was a guy on Facebook asking questions, and I said to him, "Just ring Corey at Gold Diggers. We'll help." And it was the guy come back to me and said, "Oh, it's I don't want to do that because I didn't buy the detector from there." And I said, "Mate, I own the place. Just ring the shop and we'll help you." So that's what Dean's referring to. So yeah, Todd says he's still going out to Carrara. It's still free camping out behind the pub at Carrara. So there's nothing stopping anyone from going out there. In fact, I've planned to have that time off, so I might be kicking around out there myself. But the actual hunt will be off, sort of thing. So, Peter asked a question here: will your lease still be open? I don't know what we're going to do with the lease. I suspect that this mass gatherings of 500 or less people being okay. I suspect in future days or weeks we'll be heading back down the path of what other countries have done, and that is that number will be reduced. It may be only 10 people that we you can't gather in more than groups of 10. So the lease is all up in the air. So the lease was planning to be open in the next couple of weeks, and we're still planning on that. Opening the lease in the next couple of weeks, but that just depends on what's going on with the government and what have you. Greg asked, is there going to be toilet paper at the event? We will secure a supply of toilet paper. It's absolutely ridiculous. In fact, I've got some numbers here. I didn't write them down because they were up as graphics, but let me just load it up here somehow or other. But I want to just put it into perspective a little bit here. So let's talk about the coronavirus and how serious it is. Okay, so January and February, right? This is a coronavirus alert. Okay, everyone pay strict attention to this one. So January and February 2020, the last couple of months, deaths. We're talking people who died, right? Coronavirus, 2,360 people died, right? Very, very sad. But just to keep things in, and this is worldwide, okay? Worldwide figures here. Just to keep things in perspective, right? The common cold during January and February 2020 caused the death of 69,602 people. So, yes. So, it's good to be prepared, but there needs to be a little bit of reality in things going on here. So, yes, so that's that little... That's my first alert. I've got a couple of alerts coming up with that are similar to that. Okay, so Mick and Aaron from Grappy's Gold Buys. Can gold be found in all sorts of ground? yes, it can. It doesn't form in all sorts of ground, but it can be a secondary deposit in all sorts of ground. You can have virtually any sort of country that's had a deposit over the top of it, and so it's so that can happen that way. So absolutely, not very frequently though. So okay, Mark Richards, metal detecting country, New South Wales. With a VLF detector, is it better to have a higher frequency or a lower frequency? So Mark, it depends on what you're looking for. So, for instance, if you're looking for, let's say, so the Deus is a perfect example where you can change the frequency. The Equinox is a perfect example where you change the frequency. So, a lower frequency will go deeper on bigger silver, those high-end target ID numbers. Okay, so the real high, if you're looking for really high target ID numbers, right, you want a low frequency. So, for instance, for gold, you want a high frequency because it's a small target you're chasing on a VLF. So, it's much more sensitive on the on smaller targets, the high frequency. So, yeah. Dean, NQ Explorers nicked some gold off the lease. Warren and Colleen are getting very good at nicking gold off my lease. So, I'll have to have a word with them about that. So, but yes, Dean, NQ Explorers have been hitting the lease. So, yeah. So, Ray asks how the toilet paper supply is going on the lease. We have. I went out there last week specifically to take the toilet paper out of the unlocked toilet and lock it in the container. So we have secured the toilet paper, the most valuable thing on the lease at the moment. So we've secured that against any sort of theft. So. Am I giving toilet paper as a price tonight? I actually, to be honest with you, I didn't even think about the price. I've actually set up this little studio in my in the laundry downstairs. It's bloody untidy, so I won't show it to you. But I've set this little studio up in the laundry downstairs. So, but the problem with it is that the internet didn't work. So. Yeah. David says Vogus had a good thing about the clay the other day on a video. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Vogus stuff. He puts out a lot of content. I suppose we all put out a lot of content. So I didn't see the clay one. I was talking about actually having Vogus on the show, and we still haven't really got a time to organise that, so that's been a bit rough. So Corey Dale's here. G'day, Corey. Lynn, this is a very important question. I don't know quite how to answer this, to be honest with you. Lynn Dutch, I hope you're feeling better, Lynn. Lynn had a bit of a medical emergency the other day, so I hope you're feeling better, Lynn. But she asked a very good people. Why are people such morons buying bulk stuff? Well, my question is, so, I don't know, like, the fear of the unknown, I'm pretty confident that worst comes to worst, I could look after my family. I don't think a lot of people have that confidence, particularly the younger generations. So, like, I've hunted in my past, I've bloody grown veggies, I've done all this sort of stuff. I fish, I can go and get a crayfish, I can yabby, I can, you know what I mean, like I can go and get a crab, I can, do whatever. I think a lot of particularly in the cities, these big cities, they just have no idea how to go and get a piece of food or a bit of meat or what you could eat out in the bush and what you couldn't. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the way everyone, I don't want to call it the iPhone or the iPad generation, but you spend too much time, there's no balance. My young bloke gets balance, and he'll always get balance. So he'll know how to fend for himself, he'll know how to shoot a gun, he'll know, we're not a gun family, we don't own a gun, although that is changing in a minute, shortly. So, but it's strange that 90% of people wouldn't know how to be safe with a gun, and it's bizarre. So I find that bizarre. I grew up around farms and all sorts of stuff. So I find it a little bit bizarre. So right, so another security alert. Let me get another security alert here. Let's go to the next one here. Let's talk about, so we're talking January, February 2020 deaths, right? It's a bit of a morbid subject, right? But I think a little bit of reality needs to sink in here. So coronavirus, the COVID-19, 2,360 people died in January, February worldwide. Worldwide. People committed suicide, which is something we'd be better off talking about. 153,696 people committed suicide. 150,000 against 2,000 committed suicide. Maybe there's something we should be talking about. So there's another coronavirus, the COVID-19 update over the course of the evening here. So, Steve, I'm a long way behind in comments. What's the lease you refer to? I've got a lease out at Warwick that we do training on, that we, a lot of people have been to it. It's a gold mining lease. The plant will be ready shortly. I've been told that the plant is imminent. So, prepare for videos of plant running. Right, let's just scroll down a little bit here, because I am a lot of comments behind. I'm sorry if I skipped some questions there, but right, Tim, reckon there's a market for washable, reusable toilet paper? God, I hope not, Tim. Like, that's a bit disturbing, that is. No. Although, to be honest with you, like, we might all go down, like, I hope the missus is probably lying in bed watching this, so I better be a bit careful here, but we had a bit of when Finn was born, we had an issue with modern cloth nappies, right, where you wash them out. So I didn't enjoy that a lot. So maybe we're going down that road, Tim. So, right. That's what I like about Prospectors. When we're talking about how people can't survive or wouldn't be able to survive, Prospectors, that's why I like Prospectors, particularly hot prospectors, hunters, campers, like four-wheel drivers, the guys that really get into it, is because they're very, very self-sufficient, right? Like, they're very, very self-sufficient. I reckon 90% of the people on this feed right now would be able to, within 2 or 3 hours, get a vehicle packed for being a week in the bush. So, yeah. So, and survive quite comfortably for a week in the bush. That's what I like about this crew, is it's all about that. So, right, okay, so, Darren, is it possible to get lost prospecting? Yes. If you haven't been lost in the bush, you haven't done enough. So, So I don't run it when I'm on the lease out in that part of the bush because I know it like the back of my hand. But if I'm going into a new area, I've got a personal locator beacon. I also have a handheld GPS, and I have my phone with me, with it also acts as a GPS. So yes, if I'm going very remote, I do that. If I'm going into a area I know pretty well, I don't bother. So I hope that helps, Darren. If you're completely new to the bush, get yourself a GPS locator, or even you can get a GPS that they're only cheap. Bushnell makes them. They're like a return to the car GPS. So all it's got is an arrow, and you push the button and it takes you back to the spot you marked. So that is a handy thing to have. So, right, who's that? Judy Gillies. Swap a 24 pack of toilet paper for a pack of pay dirt. I don't know who's getting a better deal there, Judy. Let me get down to the bottom here. Let's talk about this. So, right. Timmy, yeah, Army ration packs are good. I've got, see, Mark Riches is ready to go. I've got a box that I only checked last week. In the shed, it was covered in dust and what have you. And I check it normally June, end of June, July, with some tucker in it. And it's got rat packs in it. It's got pasta. It's got, long life milk. And I rotate it out at June, and we eat it and throw a few bits and pieces in it. But that's what I do. I'm ready to go. So Derek says something about ripping the sleeves off a flannel shirt. I like flannel shirts too much, and I don't like what you're proposing. Yeah, Rob says here, when I was a young bloke, we could cut off for 6 weeks and had to fend for ourselves. Now cut off for 2 days, and they want, airdrop, yeah. So Tony asked, did the gold go down in price? The gold price is fluctuating. I had a look at it probably 11 o'clock, and it was back up over $80. It went to 77 or $78. But if you look at the 10-year or 15-year or 30-year price of gold, it only goes one direction. It just goes up. So particularly huge spikes on gold prices are when stuff like this happens. Global financial crisis, when that happened, there was a massive spike in gold. So when things go south, right, when Donald Trump got elected, people thought he was random. Gold price always goes up. So it's backwards and forwards, and it varies on a day to day, but I think it was about $80, $81 today. So, righto. Oh, yeah, Pirates. Greg from Pirates is here. Greg, he's got a couple of spots left on his tours that he was actually booked out. Sold out, completely sold out. But he put some spots aside for the camping and caravan show. So, people coming to the camping caravan show could go on to one of his tours. Now, because the camping caravan show's been discontinued, Greg's got these spots opened up. If you want a mental camp on great leases, right, Greg, WA, I think the spots were June on. I think they were later in the year. So, get on to Greg, quick, smart, get over to WA. You'll learn a thing or two, and you'll find a piece of gold. Right. I got to talk about Trevor mentions it here, and I meant to send you a message, Trevor, about that pan kit. I will get back to you tomorrow, Trev. About Wedderburn. Apparently it was a very, very good event. Very, very sad passing of Bob Stones on the Monday, I believe it was, after the event. I'd never met Bob Stones. I've heard a lot of stories from Cleggy. Cleggy was a mate of his. A lot of stories about Bob Stone. really sad to hear about Bob Stone's death. So, a bit of sad news there. So Daryl asked, "Do I guarantee an amount of?" I do guarantee in the pay dirt, which we have none of at the moment. I do guarantee a minimum quantity of gold in each bag of pay dirt. Varies, of course, the bag. We do 15 different sizes from $25 to 10 grand. You can go and buy a 10 grand bucket of gold pay dirt. So, yeah, Bradley says it's one thing to go take your glamping truck into the campsite. It's another thing to walk into the bush with only a knife. Yeah, I don't think I'd be too good with just a knife. I reckon I'd go hungry. But, the $10,000 stop to cash sales could affect gold purchases. Yeah, it's very good. It could and it will. It has some big effects with the with gold as it is, because the first 100,000's tax free. So yeah. Darren asks, I've got a whole list of questions here, but I'm getting a stack of questions here. Most gold buyers, Darren asks there, most gold buyers need an ID when you're selling gold, and it is more about the second-hand dealer's license than anything else. So most of the guys that buy and sell gold are actually second-hand pawnbrokers, and they buy a lot of jewellery, and then they sort of branch out into gold. So yes, you normally need ID. So yes, you do. But anytime you want to sell gold, don't sell it to a pawnbroker. Don't sell it to the guys in the supermarkets. Talk to a professional gold buyer who only buys gold. Grappies, Mick and Aaron are lurking here somewhere. They're good guys. There's a couple of Brisbane gold buyers, Brisbane gold brokers. They're good people. So, yeah. So, yeah, Parker's Trails has been on. Shane mentions his Parker's been in town, in the country. That was November, I think he was in town. Might have been December. He's not here now, I don't think. So, he's trying to buy... Well, he talked like he was going to buy a lease over here. So, have I got the virus? No, I haven't got the corona. I've got a tickle in my throat. So that's as good as it gets, I'm afraid. No exciting news to see here on the corona. So, we're not talking about porn, P-O-R-N. We are talking about porn as in P-A-W-N. Geez, I hope I've spelt that right now. Yes. Daryl, that's a good question that we can get into a bit of detail on here. Are nuggets considered 24 karat gold? No, they're not. Virtually no nugget is 24 karat gold. 24 karat gold is 99.9% pure gold. Okay? That doesn't happen. Okay? Normally there's some other substance mixed in with a gold nugget. So for instance, on the lease I've got two different types of gold. I've got like 98% gold and a tiny amount of silver. And then the other gold I've got is two different sources. Is 86% gold and 13% silver. So gold nuggets can vary dramatically. So, Ron asked, does Grappy take jewellery or just natural gold? Yeah, he takes jewellery as well. So any sort of gold. So Darren asked, you have to smelt your gold before you sell it. No, you don't. Grappy looks after all that, so yes. So Matty Han, how are you, mate? Can you separate them, or does the silver burn off in smelting? So smelting, you can't separate them. Okay, refining is where you separate them. Okay, and refining is a chemical process, not a heat process. So they will be refined out. Absolutely. Silver and all the other heavy metals that are in a gold nugget, for instance, will be refined out, not smelted out. So smelters melting it into a bar. what I like to call a bush bar, like you melt gold, it's a bush bar. And then when it goes to a refiner, it gets converted into 99.9, you know, the gold bar's got 99.999% on it. That's refining it. And then obviously the silver is a big byproduct of gold nuggets because silver occurs with the gold nuggets a fair bit. So, so Graham, what's a good pinpointer? Graham, it's a personal thing. I like the XP, MI4, MI6, very hard to get at the moment because France has got the corona. And the Garrett AT Pro Pointer, the orange one, the Garrett Carrot, very good pinpointers. I can't split them. I think they're as good as anything. So, yeah. Derek's got a point, and what a good detector gold point. I'm going to start off with a Xterra 705. Derek, unless you can buy it really cheap, I wouldn't. There's such good... those Vanquish are very, very good machines. A 540 Pro Pack is it's a quality machine, so I would probably be looking at a new machine. The Xterra's got some age about it now, so the technology's come a long way. So I would probably, unless you can pick it up for a couple of $100 second hand, Derek, I would seriously think about a more modern machine. I think you'll get more performance out of it. Like a Vanquish has got that multi-IQ, so, mate, I hate to tell you, but yeah, maybe you're better off with a more modern machine. So Lisa Brewer has got a good Facebook page, which I enjoy. I don't enjoy every Facebook page I'm a member of. Lisa's is one I enjoy. It's the Australian Old Timers Prospectors, and it's old photos and maps and cool stuff. So yeah, the about K&H. So the Carrara Nugget Hunt, we have postponed that to the weekend of the 19th of September. Now, I forgot to mention this before. If you need a refund or can't go that weekend, if you've already bought a ticket, please contact us on the Carrara page. And we can get you no trouble, refund, easy done. But yeah, we just can't afford to do it. I don't think a lot of people will show up. B, I think that it's a risk. It might be a small risk, but it is a risk. And the last thing we want to do is end up with someone crook, because that would be, I wouldn't like that. And not only that, knowing my luck, I'll come home and give it to the family, and that would not be very good at all. So, and we'll do it in September, the weekend before the gold World Medal Detecting Championship, and we'll go from there. So, I think it'll be it will be the festival of metal detecting events. So, just imagine this in September. 19th of September, geez, I hope I remember these dates. 19th September, Carrara. Then, a week later, Gympie, right, which is the 25th. I've got no idea what the next one is, but it is Lanakuri. The Lanakuri Gold Bash is the weekend after in Victoria. So there's a massive, massive road trip from Gympie to Lanakuri for the Gold Bash. So I think that will be a mental time. It'll be the festival of detecting and prospecting. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do all of them. So, unfortunately, I'm working at two of them. So, yeah. So, Peter asked where you can buy a lease from. Gumtree, they're normally advertised. It's not as simple as you think, Peter. Give me a ring sometime and I will talk you through the madness. if one wears hearing aids, what sort of tools are available for those that not be able to hear the sound of the detector? There is something on the horizon for you. I cannot talk about it, but it will work with most machines. And obviously it doesn't rely solely on hearing. So that should give you some hints. It's not taste. It'll be one of the other senses. But there is something in the winds. I can't talk about it, but there is something in the wind. I didn't have a drink of that. Hang on. In fact, I was involved with some testing with it on the lease with a couple of guys that came out who were deaf. So yeah. So right. Timmy Breen's there. G'day, Timmy. Got to talk to you too. Right. Mark Richards, what's a good sluice to learn on that's okay for golden gems for beginner? Gold Rat Dream Mat. The Dream Mat is by far and away the best thing going around. Gold Rat is outstanding. You cannot go past Gold Rat. His build quality is a quality, absolute quality. So I've got another update here. I've got another Corona update. Okay, so we're back to deaths. Talking about deaths here. So January, February 2020. January and February, last 2 months. Deaths, right? Coronavirus. The COVID. 2,360. Put that in your head. 2,360. This is worldwide we're talking here, right? Road accidents. January, February, same time frame. 2 months, okay? 193,479. So you're 10 times more likely to die in a car accident than you are with the COVID, with the corona. So be prepared. Make sure you get some toilet paper into you. So heaven forbid you get the corona. So, yes. And toilet paper is the cure, apparently. So, yeah. Dean drank a carton of Corona and didn't get sick at all. Dean, I think if I drank a carton of Corona, I'd get sick, but I don't think it'll be the COVID-19. Yeah. So, Sandy, the little joke I made about the climate change, everything you heard before the coronavirus was climate change. Now the next sensationalist thing is happened. You don't hear anything about about global warming, global climate change, whatever we're supposed to call it now. So, yes. So, right, guys, I think that's it for tonight. It's been an interesting show. My hands are a bit tired for the holding this phone for an hour. Peter Austin, case of Corona at BWS, half price, just got to wait 2 weeks. That's a bit ordinary. So, yes. So, be prepared, guys. If you're really worried about it, go bush. Get out and find some gold. Go and hit some relic sites out in the scrub. So, thanks very much, guys. It will be more professional at the home studio next week. I think it'll be from the home studio next week. So, thanks, guys. Have a great week. I will see you in a live through the week. No doubt about that. Have a great night, guys. Thank you very much.